Fuckers jump in, they jump in. If they don't, they don't. Straight like that. All right, hey y'all. Welcome back to another roundtable discussion on Kevin CTV, where we discuss life, relationships, and everything in between. As y'all can clearly see, um, big portion of the stream is missing. Maybe they'll join us, maybe they won't. But in the meantime, we're gonna get this shit going. What up with you, sis?
What's good? What's good? It's Jazz. I currently have my own show. Well, me and two other people. Called The Comfort Zone. Go check that out. Like the videos, comment on the videos, subscribe. Please, 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 please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. We got some dope ass content. Everything that we do over here is in a playlist over there. Um, and vice versa. Um,
That's what's up. And as far as this channel, we're right around 90 subscribers, trying to hit 100 before the week is out. But I'm also trying to hit 1,000 before the year's out, which only gives us 2 more months. So I'm gonna need everybody, every single person who watches any of my blogs, hit the subscribe button because we do real shit over here, real content for everybody. So definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, while we wait for the rest of the panel or whoever else in the panel is going to join us tonight, um, last week, Other Jazz mentioned that she had wanted to talk about domestic violence. So even though she's not here right now, I think we should kind of get into it a little bit. And I've covered this before on my previous platforms, but what you think about it, Jazz?
I actually think this is a good topic. It's a
Serious stuff.
very um it's one of those topics that not too many people want to touch on,
Mm,
but have a lot of opinion on it. You know what I'm saying? People don't know what to say, and how and a lot of people go through these things and don't want to talk about it. So I think it's a good topic. I think it's a lot to talk about when it comes to this topic.
that's a fact.
Um,
I got a question now because I feel like in 2018, with people being so sensitive about everything, I feel like people miscategorize domestic violence though sometimes. Like, because when and you correct me if I'm wrong from a woman's perspective, I categorize, I mean, obviously anything could be domestic violence, and a lot of times if there's a dispute with you and your partner, even if no hands are put on anybody, if the police get called, it's considered domestic violence. But I guess we're more so talking about abuse, right?
right. I think that would be the main thing people focus on when it comes to domestic violence. That's the first thing that comes to a person's mind is abuse.
Okay, so let's get into it. Why, when you hear abuse, when you hear domestic violence, why is it more often than not assumed that only is something that only women deal with? Why do people not realize that so many men deal with this thing and suffer in silence?
Well, I think it's mainly um because naturally in every situation a man is more aggressive. So I believe that when people think about domestic violence, it's an aggressive act. So automatically they think that the aggressor in the situation has to be a man. When I mean, and the crazy thing about it is it's 2018. It's people don't realize that nowadays it's a lot more aggressive women.
It's a fact.
Um, and women are violating men.
There's some women that want that smoke for real, but
Yeah.
too, I'm gonna get dragged for this. All right, it's cool. I'm here for the smoke. I believe men. Damn, I'm gonna get dragged for this. I believe men the men who deal with it have a harder struggle with domestic violence than women do. Get dragged.
Mm.
Here's why I say that, and this is not. I'm not taking lightly the women who are battered and abused. I'm not making light of it. My perspective is because men, the responsibility is placed on men to walk away, to not hit a woman, even if she hits us first. The men are expected to walk away, be the calmer of the two. And so that's why I feel like a lot of the men who do suffer do, because like they say all the time, we are naturally stronger, so it really wouldn't be a stretch for us to defend ourselves. But I feel like there are certain men who are die hard. I'm not supposed to put my hands on a woman, so no matter what she does, I can't defend myself, and those men get fucked up, and I see videos all the time. And that's why I say men who are abused in those situations have it harder, because we can defend ourselves and choose not to. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know what you think about that.
Um, I think when it comes to that, I think I see where you coming from, and I think because a lot of times, um, it's a lot more mental, emotional abuse when it comes to that. Because in order for a man to dummy down to a woman, you have to really, really damage them and abuse them in a sense for them to feel like they cannot defend themselves.
Who, a man or a woman?
A man, like when a woman abuses a man.
But see, I think it's more. You don't think it's more of the societal pressures, like society telling us, "Yo, I don't care what she does. You don't hit a woman." Like you think it's more of a woman with mental abuse more so than the pressure from society, or do you think
No,
it's
I
even?
think it's more, well, technically, yeah, it's somewhat society, but I think that it's more of not the woman being mentally messed up, but her abusing the man mentally and emotionally. So it's a little deeper. Is
So, are
what
you
I'm saying.
saying that? Just want to be clear. Are you saying that the women who commit domestic violence against men, you're saying that those women were first abused by the man?
No, I'm
Oh,
saying that it
oh, I was
starts
about
from
to
somewhere.
drag you down the
I'm,
street.
I'm saying I'm
Okay.
saying that it's a lot deeper. Like it doesn't take don't get me wrong, it takes some time and some effort to emotionally and mentally abuse a woman, but I believe it takes a lot more effort to do that and a lot more time to do that to a man when it comes from a woman. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So it's a little it's a little deeper. It's a little, it's a little bit more intense for a man to feel like he can't. Well, and then in a sense, I understand what you're saying when it comes from society, because yes, we do, people period teach our children and the men in our lives, if a woman hits you, don't hit them back no matter what happens, because but that's all comes from the aggression,
Hmm.
because people believe that men are stronger and more aggressive than women.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
So I have a
It's
question.
like this. If we were all taught that we were equal, I
Hmm.
don't think that it would have been that situation. I believe that the reason why men people so much say to men not to hit a woman back, it all falls on the fact that people think men are stronger than women.
Right. Which I don't necessarily agree with that. Look, I understand that naturally, just by default, men have more testosterone. Men have, we're built bigger.
But
We're built.
that don't make
Well,
every man
well,
stronger than
that's
the
what I
next
was.
woman.
That's what I was getting to. There are plenty of women who are athletic. There are plenty of women who are boxers, who are in MMA. There are plenty of women I know who could fuck plenty of dudes I know of. But I understand too. I think, like you were saying, I think that I've seen women who look like they're too strong to be abused, but I think it's an emotional thing, a mental thing. I feel like there's a natural disarming when you're in a relationship, and I think a lot of women fall victim to it because they're so taken back by the whole situation. But let me ask you this, because I don't think enough light is shed on it, and I don't think enough people talk about it. I have a hard time pacifying adults. I say this all the time. Yeah, the reason why I didn't I was cautious about this topic is because I know that my views are gonna turn some people off. But it is what it is, yo. My views are my views. Why we don't hold these women accountable? Like as an adult, if you are in a situation with someone where they put their hands on you, they're abusing you, and you see that once or twice, and you stay in that situation and it goes on for months and years,
Oh,
you don't hold these women accountable for staying in these
we
relationships?
well, we can't hold them accountable
Oh my
because
God.
it's a different. Hold on, see, when a woman, when you break anybody down, we're not even just talking about women. We're talking about anybody. When you break them down, you break them down to a place where they feel like they are nothing.
Hmm.
They have
There go Jasmine with her fake ass Wi-Fi cut out. I know where she was about to go. We gonna
no. Some people know. Say that again.
cut out. So start over.
When you break somebody down, when you see, people have tactics when it comes to, it don't just start off domestic violence.
You're right.
People have tactics. People will do certain things, say certain things, look at you a certain way, call you a certain name, and constantly break you down and break you down and break you down and break. Sometimes it could take days, weeks, months, years. But when you get to that point where you are broken, you do not, you believe that this, I have to stay in this situation in order to survive. So it's almost like you're stuck in a bottle and that person has control of that top. And every time they take that top off to take a drink, you may have a chance to get out that bottle, but it's short.
Hmm.
So you have to catch it. We can't hold nobody accountable for that, only because at the end of the day, if you feel like you're trapped and you can't get out of something, what do we hold them accountable for? Being stuck? Putting themselves, we holding them accountable for what? Putting themselves in that situation?
I feel where you
Because
coming. I feel where you coming from.
yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't know that you're in that situation until you're in the situation. Do you understand? Like
Yeah.
it's not one of those situations because somebody could be a certain way in the beginning and completely snap on you.
Yeah. I guess the problem is, so, okay. So two things. So one, I guess that. So then, would you agree then that the women who get themselves into these situations, they already come into that relationship with something not there, be
Nobody
it.
gets themselves
Hold on.
into
That's not what
nobody
I.
gets themselves
No,
into a
that's
situation.
not that's not where I'm going. That's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is, the women who get into those situations, they already come into those relationships already damaged, because the men who are predators, the people who are predators and who are abusive, they seek
Work
out
on,
certain types of
yeah,
people. So
yeah,
you would already have to have a damaged personality, low self-esteem. Because
right,
I know plenty of strong A-type personalities who are not beat the second they see a sign
right,
of anything. Nah,
right.
nigga. So that's one thing. But then the other thing is this: the reason why I mention that, why I say do we hold them accountable, is because there's so many contradictions in society, right? When it comes to the legal system, ignorance of the law or saying that you didn't know that the person you were with was about to commit a crime, that's not a way out. That's not a get out of jail free card. You still about to deal with this legal system. So why are there certain aspects of society that expect us to be held accountable as adults and don't give us that way out? But then when it comes to things like this, we say, oh well, we can't hold them accountable at all for noticing the signs early
I'm
on in the
still not
behavior.
understanding what are we holding them accountable for? What are we
Not
holding them
accountable,
accountable
not
for?
like accountable in the sense of blame, but I mean like as an adult, for example, if you were in a situation, you were not like a super aggressive woman, but you were in a relationship. As somebody who's known you for so long, I would expect you, the first sign your partner shows you that they're that type of person, I would expect you that first sign before there's even a breaking down of your situation. I would expect you to address that situation from the beginning, that first sign. You see what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. It's a little deeper than that when it comes to somebody that, because what happens is when, see, and this is why, I don't want to really speak facts because I don't know. I never
Right.
been in a situation before, but when you get into a relationship with somebody and this person did everything that they needed to do to make you fall in love with them. Women fall really, really hard.
Hmm.
And then that one time they may yell at you a lot. And you may have somebody in your corner that might say to you, well,
check on the live stream. But you need to get your Wi-Fi together, brother.
No, it's not my Wi-Fi. Somebody's calling me.
Oh,
If they not beating on you or cheating on you, then you should make it work.
are you saying that that's your perspective? That if that's your point of view, or that's what the women think? All right, I'm sure she'll be back in the stream. So basically, what it sounded like what she was getting at is, um, women. She's basically saying that she doesn't hold women responsible for leaving a potentially dangerous situation at those first few signs, because I guess she was saying that women fall hard, and when those signs first start to appear, they don't see it as they don't see it as a reason or cue for them to leave immediately. And I guess part of what she was saying is because a lot of times it doesn't start off as physical. A lot of times it'll start off as verbal, where it seems manageable and it doesn't seem like it's that bad of a situation. And then after that situation goes on for a little while,
I'm so
are you good?
sorry. I
I was
keep
just
getting
trying
a
to
phone call.
recap what you were saying. Go ahead though.
Um, so what happens is you might have somebody in your corner that might say, well, if they not beating on you or cheating on you, then
Mm-hmm.
you make it work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then the next time they might grab you. You still falling in love though. You gotta look at it like this. You still, as a woman, and I'm only speaking from a woman's point of view because I'm a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You still falling in love, even though they yelled at you the last time. He did everything, or she did everything in between time to
Mm-hmm.
make you still fall hard. So
Mm-hmm.
then that next time when they grab you, you might speak to your friend about it. It's not that serious. He said he's sorry. You
Mm-hmm.
don't got people in your corner. You get what I'm saying? You don't got people in their corner. Or you may not even be speaking to nobody. You may just be telling yourself it's not that serious.
Okay. I
Then,
I can fuck
in
with
a
that.
sense, this person is really beating you down in the sense of making you feel like you're not beautiful, making you feel like you're not good enough, making you feel like you're not good enough, making you feel like there's nobody in this world that will want you, making you feel like he or she is the only person that you could be with. Now, when you mentally tear somebody apart like that, when they do smack the shit out you or grab you or punch you in your face, that don't mean nothing because let me tell you something. Sometimes that pain may not even be as serious as the emotional abuse that they. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, emotional was always worse. 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, all right, well, this person is probably providing. This person is probably taking my kids in. This person is probably, whatever the situation is, may have been way greater than, all right, well, I just got punched in my face. I could put makeup on. You get what I'm saying? That's what, when you are torn down mentally, your mind is not yours at that point.
I see. This is the problem I have, Jasmine, and this is why this topic is so difficult for me. Um, a few weeks ago, we talked about men who abscond from their responsibilities as parents. And I made a comment that some of these men grew up without fathers. Some of these men don't know how to be fathers. They're scared to be fathers for whatever reason. They don't get along with their kid's mother. And it was iterated by everybody on the panel. And it's typically the general consensus that there is no excuse and that men shouldn't make excuses. I just have a hard time, and I'm fully sensitive of women who are in those types of situations where they're abused, but I just hate the double standard of when it's a man and it comes to our responsibilities, we're expected to not fuck what our conditioning is, what broke us down, what we didn't have, what fuck what that is. We're expected to not make excuses. But when it comes to a woman who, like you said, let's say they have children, your first responsibility is to your children. Why are you letting somebody put you in that situation to where you feel like you can't walk out and leave before it gets to the point where your life is potentially in danger? And I'm not saying this, I'm not victim shaming. I guess my issue is why, when it comes to men, we're expected to never make excuses and know what we're supposed to do and do it because it's what we're supposed to do, but we make so many excuses for women. Why?
Um, or so you're saying that you feel like we make a lot of excuses for women, but there's not that same sympathy for
A
men when they're
hundred
in a
percent.
situation.
Because in any situation, like when we were talking a few weeks ago about the whole fathers who abandon their children and who don't stick around to help with the children, and then I made the comment that those fathers may not have had fathers, may not know how to be fathers, they may not have been taught, you know, what to do or how to be. And then it was iterated by everybody on the panel. There's no excuse. It's no excuse. You break the cycle. You break the cycle. Why, when it comes to men, it's always break the cycle. Don't make an excuse. But when it comes to women, it seems like we always go out of our way to try and find a reason for why.
But you should know this. You should know the answer to this question. You should
I
know
know
this.
the answer, but what I'm asking you is, why is it that we have to continue to be this way? Like, why do we
We
have to?
don't. We don't. That's the thing. We
Yeah,
don't have to continue to be this way. It's how you teach your children. You may have been brought up a certain way, but you can change how you teach your children. You can change how you how you teach and put out there to the world. You don't have to continue on something. I mean,
you don't. But when I asked you, do we hold the women accountable who stay in those
we
situations,
but
even
we
to the
can't.
point where it's dangerous to
Listen.
their
I'm
children?
not
You
when
said
I
we can't hold them accountable.
when I say when I say you can't hold women. I'm only speaking for women because I'm a woman.
No, I get it.
You can't hold nobody accountable for being torn down and beat on.
Um, you can't. I think you're missing what I'm saying. You're not holding them accountable for that because they're a victim. You're holding them accountable for staying in that situation because, like I said, it
But you don't
applies.
know. But you don't see that in this. This is why this topic is very very touchy because you don't know what they're mentally going through at the time. You can't
Okay,
just say
so let me
when
bring
that
it home.
person hit you, you should have left.
So let me
You
round
can't
it off.
say
Let me round it off. I am a man who has dealt with this. This is why I asked about why men don't get the same attention paid to them. I have dealt with this for years, um,
you've
and
dealt with domestic
a
violence for years.
hundred percent,
For
and
years. For
100%,
years is
a
okay.
hundred
So
percent.
why
Oh,
didn't so you answer your question? Why
well, this
didn't you?
well, this is why I started off in the beginning with this question. The question was, you know, with men, it's more of the pressures of society. It's like, well, you're a man, you're stronger. It's you're a man, you should be calmer. You should be in control. You should not retaliate. You should know better. But look, if you're dealing as a man, and speaking from a man's perspective, if you're dealing with a crazy psycho ass female, you're dealing with a crazy psycho ass female. The difference is, I don't think the men who do it, me being someone who's been in that situation, I don't think we do it because we feel trapped. I don't think that's why we stay. I think we stay because we legitimately don't feel like we can't defend ourselves. Like at any given point in time, I can defend myself 100%. I'm 6'4", 270. It's not too many people that I can't defend myself against. But if, and this is the same thing that happens with so many women who are in prison for finally killing their partners out of self-defense. If if I stay in that situation, right, and then if something happens to where I finally feel like, all right, fuck that, I've dealt with this shit enough, I'm tired of it, I'm gonna defend myself, and then I over defend myself, and then I kill that person. I can't be in court saying, well, self defense. They're gonna be like, nigga, you was a grown ass, big ass man, you should have fucking left. But when it's the woman, I feel like they get more leeway to argue that. That's all I'm trying to do is draw the difference between
Well, I
who
don't
we
know
deal
if
with.
this plays a part in women when it comes to domestic violence, but in the same
Hmm.
sense of a man, you shouldn't you shouldn't hit. I mean, well, you should. If a woman hits you, shouldn't hit a bag. This, that, and the other. You know, a man stronger, aggressive, all this other stuff. You gotta also. They also teach women to be more submissive. They also teach women to be wives and listen to their man. And the man is the head of the house, and you do what he said. They
Hmm.
also teach women to do these things. So a lot of times, this is why women stay in the situations that they're in.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I feel like people are a lot more sensitive to women because women are made to be soft. Women are made to be submissive. Women are made to, you know what I'm saying, not go to somebody when their man is doing something to them. Like people I honestly believe in my eyes, I believe it's it's both sides. I you
Hmm.
know, no, you don't see a lot of men speaking up when it comes to domestic violence, and I do believe that society don't make them comfortable enough to do that because of that reason. But
Hmm.
I do feel like when it comes to mental thoughts of why people stay in those situations, it's kind of hand in hand when it comes to why a person stays in a situation or
Hmm.
why a person may deal with certain situations. Because you're telling the man, well, if a woman slap the shit out you, don't hit him back because you're a man. But you're telling a woman, well, if your man slapped the
And
shit
that's a
out
way to
you,
break a man down mentally too. We talk about women being broken down mentally. That's a way to break a man down mentally, to make you feel like
exactly.
even though you can, nigga, you better not. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, but I do feel like it's kind of hand in hand. You know, society teach you this way to be a man. You gotta this is what you have to do to be considered a real man, and this is what you have to do to be a wife and a woman. And
Right.
I feel like when you do those things, you put people in a place where they don't know how to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, like I can't stand up for myself to my man or my the aggressor in a relationship because me as a feminine person, I have
Hmm.
to submit to that person and I have to make them my leader and do what they say because they're the head of this household. You get what I'm saying?
I
And as
feel
a
you.
man, I can't defend myself to a woman that's putting her hands on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then we could go even further to nowadays, if a woman is bringing home that bread,
Hmm.
they telling you what to do too. Oh, you gotta do what you gotta do this, you gotta do that. I'm gonna tell you how to dress. I'm gonna groom you because I'm bringing home the money.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I feel like it's hand in hand. Like it's all because society say you supposed to be this way as a woman and as a man. It's going as deep as LGBT Q. As a stud, you supposed to be this way. As a
Hmm.
feminine woman, you supposed to be this way. So it's like you telling me how I'm supposed to be, but then when something like this happen, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do.
Mm. Yeah. So, do you agree then that there is a difference between how we approach men and women versus women in these different situations?
I do think that the world is a little bit more sensitive to women in
Yeah.
those situations.
So,
Yes,
let
I
me
do
ask you
think
this
so.
then: do you agree that we should stop doing that? And what I mean is, be sensitive to everyone, because on the outside, physical appearance, yeah, we're gonna look at a man and say he's good, he can cover himself. We may even there may even be somebody may even look at you differently from a woman who is the typical submissive heterosexual woman, because they're going to look at you and be like, oh, you're an AG, you're aggressive, you could handle yourself. They may even give you a harder time than a dainty looking female. You know what I'm saying? But
That's
mentally,
exactly what happens.
yeah, but mentally, we're all equally as vulnerable. The mind is a fragile thing. So why not approach everybody with the same sensitivity and the same you know what I'm saying? Empathy or
Yeah,
sympathy.
I mean I do believe that things should be equal. Things like
Certain
that should
things.
be
Yeah,
equal.
yeah.
Certain things should be equal. I do think that they should be just as much open and when I say open, meaning openly willing to take on what a man is going through just as much as what a woman is going through. Women is going through. I feel like they should have a lot more things out there to make a man feel comfortable enough to speak upon it. Make a man stop telling these men that they weak if they do go through something like that. Stop telling like you feel what I'm saying. Stop telling
Hmm.
these men that it's okay for a woman to hit you and you not hit her back. Because let me tell you something. I have a son. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have a son as a woman, if you put your hands on my son, I'm gonna advise him to put his hands back on you.
Hmm.
And that's just me being honest because listen, I'm not gonna teach my son to be aggressive to women, but I damn sure ain't gonna let no woman be aggressive to my son.
I'm glad you said that because I share that same. I agree. I don't differentiate. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't care who don't like it. I'm for don't invade my personal space and don't put your hands
Period.
on me, and I won't do the same to you. The second you,
Period.
because see, that's where I think so many men get it fucked up. Like, yeah, you may be stronger, but at the same time, any woman could cause the same damage to you as you can to them. It's just a matter of you not paying attention, you not being aware. Shit, if you pose a threat to me and I didn't pose a threat to you first, it's my natural born God given right to defend myself, and I will do that.
Exactly.
But the
And see,
problem
people
that
just got to realize that there's boundaries with anybody,
anything,
whether you're a woman or a man. There is a boundary. There should be nothing in this world that makes you want to put your hands on me. I don't care what I may say to you
mm-hmm,
or how I may treat you, but if
right,
I didn't put my hands on you,
exactly,
it's no reason why you put your hands on me. I don't care who you are, a woman, a man, an old person, a kid. Listen, if a kid put their hand on me, I'm putting my hands back on them. And it's just listen, and I'm just being real because at the end of the day, it's too many people letting things like this slide where it's
and then I'm gonna tell
okay
you to
for
go
you
get
to
your parents so I can talk to them too.
exactly because hitting that's where it started. You hitting. You oh it's okay, I got away with it. I ain't get in trouble. I hit such and such. That's just even like in school. We telling oh don't if somebody hits you, let's say I seen this video on Facebook. Little boy, it's supposed to be a little joke. It was funny, but it was the truth. Little boy said, um, well in school one of the rules are if somebody hit me, I don't hit them back. I go tell the teacher. We all get taught that, right? Don't hit back telling people. Well, on Friday, little Johnny gonna have a rainy day where he may not get a snack or can't do recess, but
Mm,
on Friday, I'm gonna have a black eye.
mm-hmm,
You get what I'm saying? Because he
mm-hmm.
hit me, and all I
Yeah,
did
nah,
was
we don't
tell the
play that
teacher.
shit. We don't play that.
No, no. What's gonna happen is on Friday we both gonna have a black eye, and
Mm-hmm.
we both gonna have rainy
That's
days.
a fact. That's a fact. And I don't. That's one thing. Look, I understand from the perspective of the school because they have their policies and they don't want anybody fighting. But yo, I swear to God, if any of my kids will never be in trouble if I ever get called to school that they got into a fight that they did not start, but they were defending
But
themselves
they
because
were
somebody
defending
put their hands on
themselves.
them. Exactly, 100%.
It's
And I
a
will
difference
fight.
between causing trouble and defending yourself.
Exactly. And I'll
And
fight
that's
any
all I'm
teacher,
saying.
any principal. I'll fight anybody on that subject matter because I'm not beat. I'm not beat. Don't fucking put your hands on me and we won't have an issue. Male, female, fucking I don't give a fuck. If you put your hands on me and I did not do anything to you to cause you to do that, cuz let's be real.
You
And
gotta
people
expect me to put my hands back on you. And whether I'm a man or a female, because at the end of the day, it's like this. Um, I'm not gonna ever teach my son to instigate.
mhm,
I'm not gonna ever teach him to, you know, I'm like I'm not gonna bring him up in a situation where you could sit up here and because sometimes you can agitate somebody. Everybody, some people got short fuses,
that's a fact.
and you do need to learn how to g- basically know when it's time to stop
Mhm,
because sometimes kids do get a little agitated. People, women, men get a little agitated to a person, and just because you can take a lot don't mean the next person can. That's when people need to learn that everybody is different. You can't keep nagging and nagging at a person and expect them to always have that same demeanor. Not everybody. See me, I could take a lot. You can say what you want to say to me. I'm not gonna let it get under my skin that much where I gotta slap you. But the next person may not be able to take those things, and
right,
it may be because of what they've been through in their past.
right.
So sometimes you do need to teach your kids those things too. Like everybody has a boundary.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to know when you can't step over that boundary because you might get slapped. Even though I'm still going to advise you to slap them back, but you need to know not to go to that point to get there too.
I'm glad you said that cuz here's my beef and so many men get into trouble when they say shit like this. Can we agree that there are women out here who provoke these men to and I'm not talking about abusive situations where a man comes home and his dinner's not ready, so he's beating on his partner. Nah. But let's not act like when men and women get into verbal disputes, and let's not even say verbal dispute. There's plenty of times where I have tried to walk away from a female, and you standing in the doorway, you blocking my path, you grabbing me, you fuck off me. Like, let's not act like women don't provoke men. How come that's so taboo to say that women provoke men in certain situations? If I'm
I
telling you
do
don't touch
believe that.
me,
I
you
do
in my
believe.
face,
Okay, see.
Go ahead.
I do believe that um it's funny because I just was saying this to somebody like how you know a woman is very much in love with you.
Uh-huh.
She's not gonna walk away from that situation. She will fight your ass.
I know.
She will fight you. She's not gonna let you leave out that door. She ain't leaving, and she would dare you to touch her to get through that door. That's
But see,
that.
that's the
So
problem, bro. Like, come on.
it is a problem. I'm not saying that it's
Because you know why I
okay,
say that?
but
Because for me, I'm a type of individual who sometimes I may need to like I'm a communicator, but when it gets to the point where communicating is not it's not feasible, I need to walk away for a few minutes so that it don't escalate. But now if you in my way, if you grabbing me, if you preventing me from leaving, all you doing is escalating that situation. That's all you doing. Because I have a long fuse, but nobody's fuse is infinite. It's gonna be a certain point where I'm gonna be like, all right, yo, like get the fuck off me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, um, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like as much as we could talk about these topics, I feel like everybody has a different mindset. Everybody's different. Boiling point is butt in the push is,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know what a person has been through. Thing that sometimes a person can go through so much in their life, and you could say one thing to them, and it may make them explode, or you could do something that may remind them, which are called triggers, make them and say something to
True.
somebody that you may not think is serious, and it may rip that person apart. So it's sometimes it's just like that's why I don't like to deal with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
that's just real
Yeah.
shit. Like I don't deal
Yeah.
with a lot of people because I've been through a lot of stuff and I've did things, and no, I don't want to deal with new people that don't know my triggers or don't know their own triggers.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. So, so I guess what it comes down to for me is so then after we broke all that down, so how do we differentiate? So is it if you and your partner have a dispute where y'all two might get into it, and maybe y'all might even come to mutual blows for a couple minutes? Do you classify that as abuse? Even though it's a mutual thing between you two, and it's not like you're consistently abusing that partner and that other partner is consistently abusing you. Are there different levels? Is there a difference, or is it all
Domestic
considered?
violence is domestic violence.
You keep cutting out.
It's just because both of y'all domestic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I'm trying to make a differentiation between
Can you
domestic
hear me?
violence and abuse.
Domestic violence and abuse. Okay, because
Hmm.
domestic violence is you
Yeah,
beating on each other, beating on the kids,
even
beating
if
on the
there's no
grandkids.
physical, yeah, and you call the police.
Exactly. It's domestic violence, but abuse. So you're saying, do we call it abuse if both
That's what I'm
parties are
saying.
doing it to each
And
other?
not even consistently. Let's say there's every now and then you guys get into a situation where y'all just come to blows. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that still considered abuse? You know what I mean?
I do. I would consider it abuse.
Because
I would
I,
consider it abuse. I would say that you guys are abusing each other. I would say that,
yeah. Okay. So then, how come when
and
it comes to discipline versus abuse of children, how come? Because I don't classify disciplining your children as abuse. I consider abuse when it's excessive, when it's repetitive, when there's no reason for it. Like you're not, it's not a teachable moment. So, like if you say, if your child does something wrong, and you physically discipline them, nothing excessive, you're just disciplining them. That's not abuse, right? So then, how come even if it only happens once in a 2 year relationship, if you get into it with your partner and physically, how come you still consider it abuse?
so because I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So if I'm in a 2 year relationship with my partner, and after that 2 years we end up getting into a fight, a physical fight. It doesn't happen for another couple of months, but after those couple of months, we get into another physical fight.
No. Let's say you was in a 2 year relationship and it only ever happened once or twice through that whole 2 year relationship. Because when I think of abuse, I think ongoing, prolonged, repeatedly happening. You know what I mean?
Well, No, because not necessarily, because abuse don't necessarily have to be ongoing and repeatedly.
But that's what
Abuse
I'm
can
saying.
happen in spurts.
Yeah, but again,
Because
do you?
just because we got into a fight one time within 2 years, we may be together for 8 more years and get into a fight another 5 times. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So abuse can be in spurts. It don't necessarily have to be a pattern.
So then, if somebody on the street, right, physically assaults you, and then you defend yourself, and then let's say 6 months later you run into that same person and they physically assault you, and then you defend yourself, and you two are mutually fighting. How come that's not abuse? Where does the term abuse? Why is it only applied to relationships and parent-children situations? You see what I'm saying? There has to be something that differentiates abuse from just a physical
Well, it's
altercation.
that right there. The abuse is between relationships. It's a relationship.
But see, when I hear
That's
abuse, you don't think one-sided. Like, you don't, when you hear the term abuse, you don't think, okay, somebody's abusing someone. It's one-sided, because
well,
abuse
see,
insinuates a victim, right?
well, yeah, it do insinuate in a big, but it doesn't take away from both parties being a victim.
Uh-huh.
You get what I'm saying? So just because
So
I
you're
might
saying you could
say
be the victim and the
Kevin
aggressor at
abused
the same
that,
time?
yes, you can.
Really? Okay.
You can.
Huh,
You can.
interesting.
You can be a victim and an aggressor at the same time. Yes, you can. It's very possible. It's very possible.
So how come in the criminal side of the justice system they don't allow for that? You're either the aggressor or you're the victim. You're either the person who is causing the situation or the person who is, you know what I'm saying, the subject of it.
Well, you got to look at it like this. If something happens, okay, so let's say me and you in a relationship.
Mhm.
No, fuck relationship. We brother and sister, right? We brother and sister. I might walk in the house and say something to aggravate you or something, and you might slap me in my face. We start the fist fight. Who's the abuser?
Can you? Yeah. See, I don't
You say,
know.
even though
See,
you're the
yeah.
abuser, you're the abuser. I'm the victim because think about it. All I did was say something to you. You slapped me for no reason. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
look at it
Okay.
like this. Let's look at it like this. Tomorrow, you come in the house. Now I'm mad as hell. I'm mad as hell because you slapped me yesterday. You come in the house and you say some bullshit, and I slap the shit out of you. At that point, we're both abusers and victims to a situation.
You can make the argument that you were retaliating from the day before. Okay. So wait, and look, I don't. We're not making light. We're not joking
No, I'm
about
not trying to make
situations.
it.
We're just
Sometimes
so
you gotta
okay.
lighten up a situation.
So
Sometimes you
even
have to
okay. So
lighten
then,
up.
would you still classify it as abuse? Is if I come in the house, I'm pissed off about something, and I say something to you, and you be like, "Nigga, who the fuck you talking to?" Right? And you get in my face, and I'm telling you, "Yo, you in my personal space, yo, back up." And I keep telling you this, and you keep moving closer on some like do something type shit, and then I slap you. Is that still me being an abuser? Is that still me being an aggressor? You violated
No,
my personal. See,
no,
so
no. I
it's a
agitate.
thin
No,
line.
no. It's a very thin line because at that point I agitated that situation. I knew what I was doing. I pushed your buttons. But by me just walking in the house and simply saying something to you that I didn't know was going to trigger you, you can't, you can't, you can't take. I'm a victim at this point because I didn't know. I didn't know you was on edge and you was going to slap the shit out of me. But if you came in and you told me
Right.
you're in my personal space and I agitated when you slapped the shit out of me, I can't say you just abused me because I just asked for it at that point.
And I did that for a reason. So why do so many men still get the scold and still get the scowl and the hate? Like, nah, fuck that. There's no excuse. You
But
should
you keep
never.
but see the thing is I get where you're going, but
Mhm.
this is a question that we always go back to the same thing. The
Yeah.
reason why is because of society. Society make men feel like they
Yeah.
should be strong enough to walk away no matter what.
So is
Society
society
makes
wrong, or are you know what I'm saying? It's just,
Society is wrong. I will
okay.
always blame society for a lot of the issues we talk about because, like I said, it's hand in hand. In the same sense, society will tell a woman that you need to stay in your situation and do what your man tell you to do. You get what I'm saying? So it's hand in hand.
You
Like,
think
you know what I'm saying?
2018 society says that?
No, no, no. But the problem is, see, this is the
Come on.
problem. This is the problem. We're 2018. We talking about people like it's different levels now. We got the kids that's growing up now
Yeah,
that's growing up to be themselves. Then we got people that like us that grew up and we're in our early 30s that our parents taught us to be a certain way. Our parents taught us to be you know, to live a certain way because their parents taught them.
true.
2018 society is only working for the kids that were born because once you're in your set ways, you have a hard time leaving that way.
That's true.
2000, like I said, 2018 is working for the kids that's growing up now. That's being taught to be themselves. That's living in a society that LGBTQ is okay. Living in a society that you can stand up for yourself as a man, or you can stand up for yourself as a woman. We didn't live in that society. We weren't taught by people that grew up in that society. You get what I'm saying?
So essentially, it's our generation, mine and yours, that are responsible for ushering that changes because it's our
Exactly.
generation who are teaching those
Exactly.
kids that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
then, how were we able to break that cycle? If, like you said, we were taught by our grandparents and our parents through their examples to not do what we're doing.
I can't say that everybody has broken that cycle.
No,
We
not
are
everyone.
just
Yeah,
some people we're just people that slip through those cracks. You get what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
everybody it's hard to say everybody teaches that. I know a lot of people that's in my age group that is dealing with domestic violence, is dealing with abuse, and they just feel like it's nothing they can do. Or
right.
they have felt like it wasn't anything they could do. But me and you are one of those people, and a few of my other friends can say are those type of people that slip through those cracks. That is gonna teach something different than what we were taught.
So, do you think women who are victims of domestic violence to the point where it almost cost them their lives, do you think that they would be upset to hear a person with a view like mine that says, I, I don't care what your gender is, if you put your hands on me, I'm going to defend myself? Would that offend someone who's been through domestic violence?
I it may, but I don't think that. I think that sometimes you gotta listen before you get upset because when you defend yourself in a situation,
Hmm.
is totally different from domestic violence.
Right.
You in domestic violence,
Hmm.
they're just a victim.
Right.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, it makes
When
sense.
yourself, when you're defending yourself in a situation, yes, you are a victim, but then at some point you're standing up. You get what I'm saying? You're standing up for yourself. You're standing up for yourself. So at some point you're gonna be the abuser too.
Okay.
You do
Makes
you
sense.
understand what I'm saying?
No, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I just want
So,
to.
but when it's domestic violence, we're talking about somebody that cannot defend themselves, will not defend themselves.
I just wish there was a way to pinpoint why those people choose not to or why they don't. Because even being
I don't think that
someone
they
who's
have a
been in that
choice. I don't think
situation,
that they have a choice.
even
I
someone
don't.
who's been in that situation, you still don't think about it after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't think about after the fact why
Why
you stay
didn't
in
you?
that situation. Why you stay in that situation? Well, fuck that. I defended myself. But what I'm saying is, you don't
Why
think
did you
about it.
stay? Even though you defended
Right,
yourself, why did you
exactly.
stay?
Because
But
a
I
very
almost think that it's not a choice being made. I don't think that I don't. I think when you're in a situation, you don't think as far as it being a choice. If you
mm,
understand what I'm saying, like it's almost like even in your situation, you actually defended yourself, but because you were able to defend yourself,
and not to the
you
extent that
don't
I
think
could have.
about, oh, I need to leave. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And not to the extent that I could have. And I could have freaking, a couple situations I could have not been here
But
right now.
even though at the moment when you're defending yourself, yeah, we get into fights. I'm defending myself. You did this. I defended myself. But at the moment, you don't think about, oh well, why? What you thought about is I stood up for myself. I defended myself. Now let's go to sleep, or whatever the
Right, right, right.
situation is at the time. You don't think about those choices that you actually had when you're in a domestic violence situation. About those choices no longer becomes important to you.
Mm,
That person takes those choices away from you. It's almost like slaves. Like slave.
Mm,
When you a slave, we could argue that shit too. Kanye West
yeah.
said slavery was a choice. Do you believe that?
Nah, I can't rock with that. I can't agree with that.
Why though? Because if you think about his point that he
I
made,
think I get what I think I can and I can't relate domestic violence to that. Let me tell you why I can't though. The reason why he was totally off base with slavery being a choice was that it was illegal for us to be free. If we were found to be anywhere free, we would be literally killed. It would be legal to do it. With domestic violence, there is help out there, but I get what you're saying. You don't because
but
of
it
your
hasn't
mental
always
state.
been like that. It hasn't
Yeah,
always been
yeah,
help. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying?
hmm
Domestic
Well, it's always
violence
been
come
illegal
from.
to cause harm to people, but I
It's
get what
always
you're
been
saying.
illegal, but it hasn't
Mentally, you
always
don't
been help.
realize that you can seek
Exactly.
that help. Yeah, I get it. So, on
Exactly.
that standpoint, yeah, I have to agree with that. That makes sense. Um, I really
but
wish that the
but
rest.
that person takes that choice away from you. Just like you start to believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. Just like
Yeah,
with black people, at some point, black people was okay with the situation. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
you know
institutionalized and brainwashed. Yeah,
exactly when you start believing that this is how it's supposed to be, you took that choice away from me.
yeah, right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And I think where he screwed up was what he was trying to say was initially it wasn't a choice, but after you have millions of people who can rise up and no one does, I think he was trying to make a point that after so long, you choose to
And
stay
I
in that
believe that.
situation.
I believe
Yeah,
that too. I'm not going to sit up here and
but
act like
like
I
you said,
don't.
it
I
is
know I'm
true.
gonna
I
get
mean,
dragged
it's
for
like
it. I'm gonna get dragged for
the
that.
it's like the theory about the goldfish. If you keep a goldfish in a small fish tank for so long, if you take that goldfish and drop it into a larger tank, they're still gonna swim in that same circle of
Well,
that
yeah,
old, yeah, because
right.
it's just after a while you just become institutionalized. It's true, it makes sense. I wish we would have had the rest of the panel to help us talk about this because I know we would have got some very different interesting views.
And we
um
gonna have to talk about that later because it's interesting
100%.
how we
Mm-hmm.
haven't. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's cool. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because we I think we covered the majority of what I wanted to cover. At least I just wanted to, Jasmine wanted to talk about this, so I wanted to hear her story so I could get a better perspective on what it looks like. But we'll figure that out another time. I'm gonna let you close out, but first, before I do that, I actually wanna. So the point of what the conversation was for today was, yeah, I wanted to cover a little bit about domestic violence, but I also wanted to draw some differences between just some of the normal spats and everyday that people have in their relationships, because I do think there's slightly a difference between abuse and domestic violence versus like two people who maybe they shouldn't be together, but they just can't get it right. But they're not necessarily abusive; they just can't figure it out. They're real victims of domestic violence, and those are the people I think who, like Jasmine said, for no reason they just get fucked up, and repeatedly, and they get broken down, and there's no reason for it. There's no excuse to be made for it. They're just predators, and I think that could be male or female. So for people who are dealing with domestic violence, or if you know someone who's dealing with domestic violence, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. And I'm going to put the link to the website in the description box of this video when it uploads. And I'll let you close out, sis.
So I'm gonna. I know that it may be hard to stand up for yourself when it comes to domestic violence. I know that like I said, your choice is being taken from you. I know that you may not understand what's going on or why it's happening to you, but sometimes when you take that leap of faith and you step out and you do something that you may never thought that you have done, that can save your life. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's for men and women. Don't ever feel like, I'm taking away from a man just because they're supposed to be stronger or more aggressive. I don't want to ever feel like I'm giving less credit to a woman just because they're supposed to be submissive. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to stand up for themselves. Everybody, everybody gender, whether you're man, whatever it is that you who you are. Um, just continue to be who you are. Be strong. Nobody has to be uh stronger or better or taller than you in a sense mentally. Um,
Hmm.
or less than you at some point. So I'm just gonna say, go check out the comfort zone, like, comment, and subscribe to like, comment this video, subscribe to Comfort Zone, like, comment on the videos, and also
Hmm.
subscribe. Um, we're gonna have some dope ass content coming over on that page as
That's a
well.
fact.
I'm sorry that we didn't have the other three people that were supposed to be on here.
We're gonna talk about it as soon as
Um,
this live stream ends.
we will talk about that.
um,
Um, and I'm out.
all right, and like always, I do put all the links to the comfort zone in every video I upload now. So if y'all go into the description box, you'll see one of the links there. It says subscribe to my channel's featured channel, the comfort zone. So go click on that link, subscribe now, so that when the content does come, y'all could be first on hand for it. Anyway, man, I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let us know what y'all think about this one, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love.